I went from this to this in 9 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and some miscellaneous odds and ends. Today I'm going to recap my story so far. I normally do this on the 9th of the month. Because I started on May the 9th of last year, 2022, so it hadn't been quite 10 months yet. Today is the 3rd of March, but due to my delayed schedule, you're going to see this on Sunday, which will be the 5th, so it's only a few days early. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You may be asking yourself, Bob, what in the world are we watching here? Well, you're watching me walk. I know that doesn't seem super exciting. I do try to come up with interesting things to talk about while I walk. But, some days are better than others. But the reason I'm making this video a little early is because I'm not exactly sure why, but I had a video. It's certainly not what people would, the big channels would call blowing up, but considering I average, between 800 and 1,400 views on each video, one of my videos picked up about another 15,000 views yesterday, which was actually on Thursday. So it's been a few days ago now. So I picked up like 420 new subscribers. Thank you guys, by the way, if you're one of the new ones and you're one of the old ones. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. But since I had that big surge of new people coming in, I thought I would take this opportunity to explain to everyone again my story so far. Of course, it's far from over. My story won't be over until one morning I don't wake up. But I am going to get into what's happened not just this year, but what led to all of this. Not going to be super long about it because I've explained it in great detail in several videos. But I know a lot of people, when they find a channel, they just start watching and they don't have time to go back through. I've been putting out daily content since September the 1st now. So September, October, November, December, January, February. This is the 7th month of daily content. Most people with jobs and lives don't have time to go back and watch 7 months worth of videos. So, begin at where my story really gets started on this entire journey is back in 1983. Of course, the second I start talking out here by the street, tons of traffic goes roaring by. Back in 1983, I was discharged from the service because I had gout. If I had known what was wrong with me at the time, I probably would have just suffered in silence for a while, because I really liked being in the service. But I didn't. I just thought I'd broken my foot or something on what we'd done the day before. And So of course I got some advice from the service doc, and I found a regular doctor when I got home, and they both said basically the same thing. And even today, you can go look up online. If you go to your favorite search engine and type in gout diet, you will find the exact same information that I was given back in 1983. They're still pushing it. And it basically just said, eat lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, limit your meat. If you're going to have meat, have about 2 ounces, which is about a palm size piece of meat. And they said, you can have chicken or fish, occasionally pork, but never red meat. That's the advice I was giving. And I started to follow those directions quite carefully, because at that time I still had hopes of maybe I could kick this thing and get back in the service. That didn't happen, of course. I noticed over the course of time I was slowly gaining weight, even though I was still pretty darn active. But I was slowly packing on a few pounds, so, I would start, and, my gout just kept getting worse and worse. I would start a new exercise program. 3 or 4 days into it, I'd get a gout attack, and that would set me back 4 or 5 or 6 days. And that cycle just kept repeating and repeating, and I slowly got heavier and heavier and heavier. Because it's really hard to do any kind of serious exercise when even the weight of a sheet over your joint makes it scream in pain. And yes, I was given drugs for it. The drugs helped a little bit, but not that much. I slowly packed on the weight, slowly got sicker and sicker, until I believe it was about 2003. But don't quote me on that, because I don't remember exactly what year I was diagnosed with diabetes, type 2 diabetes. And of course, doc put me on meds for that. And of course, by this time I was on blood pressure meds. My joints were all still hurting, so I was on some pain pills. The diabetes nutritionist at my doctor's office gave me her what she called carb-controlled diet. And it turns out that this is a fairly common thing to tell people about, and it's some of the worst advice in the history of the world. Because she said, what you want to do is eat the same number of carbs every day and spread them out throughout the entire day, so that you don't get a huge insulin spike or sugar spike to make your diabetes worse. And her solution was 45 to 60 grams of carbs, 3 meals a day, plus 3 15 grams of carbs snacks. So that's, got you eating 6 times a day. And I've got several videos on this channel talking about why that's such a bad idea. Because, your insulin stays up all day trying to fight the sugar. It never drops back down to normal. and you just keep getting sicker and sicker, which is what happened to me. And I did that within the gout diet, followed it pretty closely, but still kept getting sicker and bigger until 5 years ago now. I had I just didn't feel good. So I went to the doctor and he checked a few things out, and he sent me to a cardiologist and he checked a few things out. Ended up with a triple bypass surgery. It's now been 5 years and a couple of months ago. After I got out of the hospital, I of course felt better because my heart was suddenly getting appropriate blood flow again. But things were not great. I got a little bit of improvement to start with, but I still had gout, I still had diabetes, and to say my mental state was bad would be a bit of an understatement, because I was literally, for the next 4 years after my heart surgery, I was shocked every morning when I woke up that I had woken up and hadn't died during the night. It was not a great place to be. And I tried to combine the gout diet with the diabetes diet with the so-called heart healthy diet, and I just kept getting sicker. And then it was, this is March, so it's about this time last year. I was sitting right over there behind the church in my 5x10 cargo trailer that I live in the winter. And I found, I've always been a travel, tourism, photography, camping, van life kind of YouTube consumer. And right in the middle of my page when I opened up YouTube was a video by Dante Ferrigno. His channel's name is Ferrigno's Freedom. And I believe it was 125 days on the lion diet was the name of that video. And I'm like, lion diet? What the heck's a lion diet? And I looked at he had a before and after picture in the thumbnail. I looked at it and said, wow, that looks pretty good. So I clicked into the video and watched it, and it didn't take me very long to figure out, this is another more restricted form of the keto diet. And I'd heard of the keto diet, Atkins and all that stuff. But of course, I can't do that because I've been given the advice for decades at this point that if you're going to eat meat, eat lean meat, a palm-sized portion every once in a while. But I watched his video, and because I watched his video, a few other people popped up, namely Dr. Barry. I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this video has seen at least 15 or 20 Dr. Barry videos. If you haven't, you should go watch them. But right about this time, I'm feeling, fairly dejected because I'm at the point where I can barely stand up for 2.5 minutes at a time. without severe pain. Because, besides the heart surgery and the gout and the diabetes, I had developed severe arthritis, spinal stenosis, fatty liver, stage 1 chronic kidney disease, and a partridge in a pear tree. I had it all. I wish I had a pear tree. I like pears. Not anymore. I used to like pears. But if I had the partridge, I could pluck it and cook it. And that would probably be pretty good. But anyway, I noticed that Dr. Berry was going live that night. So I had a question in mind, got into his live a few minutes early, and I thought, my goodness, there's already 2,000 people in here. I'm never going to get a question answered in this mess. But I dutifully typed out my question, and it was something like, I have gout, so I can't eat a lot of meat. Is there a version of this diet I can try? And if I'd known it was going to be this successful, I would have written down who it was that answered me. One of his moderators, who are all extremely intelligent people, came into the chat and said, Bob, eating meat does not cause gout. And they provided a link to one of Dr. Berry's gout videos. So I'm like, what? That can't be right. That goes against everything my doctor's been telling me for 40 years. So I went and checked. I need to back up just a little bit how I got as big as I was when I started this. Is for about the last year, I basically just threw my hands up in disgust and despair and just started eating whatever the heck I wanted. And I can tell you there was a lot of pizza and donuts involved in that. I didn't feel any better, but I didn't feel any worse. I was still surprised every morning when I woke up, but at least I had Papa John's on speed dial to make my day better. But after I got that message from his moderator, I didn't even stick around for the live chat. I went right to his channel and started watching his gout video. And then I found another one and watched that. And then I went down, as he calls them, down into the show notes and looked up the research that he used to make his determinations for the video. And I'm like, this is still completely backwards from everything I've been taught. But what I've been taught, what I've known as fact since 1983, obviously isn't working. Let's give this a try. So I was getting ready to leave out of here, go up and visit my sister and my mom for a while. Sisters, I have two. And I didn't think it was fair to just show up on their door and say, oh, I'm only going to eat meat now, so you have to go grocery shopping again. So I waited. I got home on the morning of May the 8th, went grocery shopping, because, I'd been gone all winter. My freezer was mostly empty. My refrigerator was empty. Filled it up with all the good stuff, beef and eggs and sausages and cheese and all that stuff. And I started on May the 9th. Well, that was almost 10 months and 140 pounds ago. But the 140 pounds is an estimate And a side note, because I actually feel like it's probably closer to 150 to 160 pounds, because I didn't start this diet looking for weight loss. I had tried every diet in the world, and I knew that I just wasn't going to lose weight. There was something about it, the combination of things that I had, that made losing weight absolutely impossible. But the thing I got from Dante's original video was that his joints stopped hurting. And I was hoping, I had no prayer that my joints were ever going to stop hurting altogether, and they still haven't, by the way. But I was taking so many pain meds. Sorry guys, here comes some more loud vehicles. Buy an exhaust system, dude. But, I had no expectation of weight loss. I was just hoping to maybe have a little bit less pain. I figured I'd give it a try for 30, 45 days to see if I could up, instead of being able to stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes, I figured if I could stand for 7 to 10 minutes before the pain in my joints and my back started, I'd call it a success. And of course, because I jumped in overnight, I had all of the bathroom issues that go with changing your diet suddenly. So I hadn't, the whole point of this is that I hadn't stepped on the scale. I didn't step on the scale to start. And I was about 2 weeks into it before I finally stepped on the scale. And I was at just over 315. It was like 315.4. So, best I can guess, given how much I'd lost after that, I'm going to guess that I was somewhere about 230 or so when I started, or 330. So the rest you can go back and see all my results if you want to, but to bottom line it, I got my labs retested at the 4-month mark. My A1C was down to 4.8. My kidney and liver markers were better than they'd been in decades. My arthritis felt, at that time, about 90% better. Looks like he's here to fill the propane tank. I didn't even know we still use that thing. But, yeah, my fatty liver was gone. My stage 1 chronic kidney disease was gone. At that point, my arthritis, like I said, was about 90% better. My spinal stenosis was 85% better. And I decided to start walking on September the 1st. You can go back and watch that and you'll see where I started walking. It wasn't very far. But the bottom line it all, before I started, I was taking 13 pills in the morning, 9 at night, plus the pain pills. And now I take 1 pill a day because my cardiologist, who is a keto guy, wanted me to keep going for a while. He said when I get home this spring, which will be in another few weeks, that we would run some more tests and see from those if he thinks the blood thinner is still needed. And even if I have to keep taking the blood thinner, one pill a day versus all those other pills is pretty good. So that is basically my story in a nutshell. And like I said, if you go back to my September the 1st video, you'll see, there's a playlist called September Walking Challenge or something like that. But you can watch the first few of those and you'll see I didn't walk very far. But now, I'd been averaging a little over 5 miles a day, somewhere between 5 and 6. But this is actually the 4th day. There's the 5th. What day is today? It's the 3rd. So it's the 4th day because I started a day early for video lags. This is the 4th day. I'm out here working towards 15,000 steps a day for the entire month of March. Which is, depending how long my strides are, if they get smaller as I get deeper into it, it's come out to about 6.25 miles so far. And the surprising thing about all of this is that my legs don't hurt. They start to hurt while I'm doing this. After about 8,000-9,000 steps, my legs do start to hurt a little bit, but I just stop, take a little break, do a little stretching, and get back to it. But the first day, I did it in about 8 different segments where I'd go out and walk 2 or 3 or 4 laps and then take a break and so on and so forth. I've already walked one set of 5,000 steps. Actually, it was a little over 5,000 steps what I got in first thing this morning in the rain. And now I'm in the middle of my second set talking to you guys. And we're coming up on the 30-minute mark on the video. And that's as long as I want it to get. So at this point, I'm going to say, again, thanks to everybody who's subscribed, who has subscribed. If you're still here, why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Hit the like. Leave me a comment. Just say, if nothing else, just say hi, Bob, down in the comments, because I've been saying that for the last few days. And I think getting action on the videos is what made that other one go bigger. And that's what this is all about, getting the word out. Because I have had such an incredible improvement in my health in such a short time. I mean, I know 10 months doesn't sound like that short a time if you're just getting started. It sounds like forever. But if you compare that to 40 years of being sick, 10 months is pretty darn fast. So that's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better today. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow.